Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before I do begin, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a lot of things happening. Now, Deku, he was engaged. He got married to Thela in the Feywild, and he decided on his way back from his journey to try and help out the Fey where he could. He has a talking magical dire tiger. He saved it from poachers and released many other creatures back into the wild. Along with that, he was also able to kill a mirage dragon. Now, this creature had immense magical power. However, it does tend to avoid combat. It's easier as an illusionist to deceive your enemies and take them out. However, the opponent it faced was way more powerful than it. And Izuku, he took the thing down and even had to hunt it down himself. Remember, it ran from this chase. He took it out quickly and then went back to Atrig's lair, where the man, he was surprised to find that Deku was growing a pair of horns. Now, Deku, he had a lot to go through in his own mind. He has a new magical artifact he got from Thela, and he does also at least know what it does. He turned in Vesela's scale to Atrig, and right now there is at the tournament. Bakugo and Ochako were honored as the heroes. 3 years to the day where the gods bestowed upon them warriors of liberation. Warriors to help them fight the oncoming darkness. Sadly, however, 2 years ago, one of those warriors fell. And that is quite unfortunate. Next month will be the anniversary of that man's death. He was taken out by a powerful person. And the second hero that they believe is gone, Izuku, he was severely injured in that battle and even cursed. And many believe that is what led to his downfall against a red dragon. However, that is one hell of a story. Taking out a dragon while you're insane and succumbing to the curse of madness. A battle so brutal, a body was not discovered, some do say. People do speculate that he is still alive somewhere. And that, it does mean quite a bit. People do hold out hope that that hero may return. And Bakugo and Ochako, they know he's here. They hope that he's actually watching the tournament. The idea of him participating, however, does disturb them a bit. Deku's been through so much. Their journey has not been easy. I mean, hell, Ochako's been through the ringer, and even Bakugo himself can say that. But she's been a problem for him to try and keep track of. That much he does know. And right now, there was also Deku. Whenever him and Angel arrived in their disguises, he showed off, he broke the magical barrier. And that was after he punched someone who decided to get into his way. Now, the King of York does decide to talk about the warriors who will be competing. And Izuku, he is quite happy to hear about this. Right now, him going to turn his head and going to stare up as the king does begin to speak. Of all the warriors who have broken the barrier, there are far more participants this year than they did realize. King Drutha going to express, waving his hand. For now, they are going to be determining things quite simply. 20 of them will compete, and they will be the ones the tournament will be centered around. However, they do currently have 100 participants this year capable of breaching the barrier. Many of them broke it in some regard, magic or physical power. They've done much to get to where they are, and clearly the warriors are getting stronger. Or perhaps he is just getting older. But they will all face off against each other within the next magical battle. Rano Deku turning to his companion, the dark-haired human woman who does have the name Hami, expressing to her, "It does seem like they're going to be in a little bit of trouble then, doesn't it?" "Yes, it does." Him telling Indra, "It's going to be a bit bad. You think that Minotaur is going to come after me?" "I don't know, Tio. Perhaps. Though I think you did paint a bit more of a target on your back with that one." "You're right. Though, I do have a bit of a strategy." "Are you sure?" "I am." Him bringing his hand up, going to wrap an arm around her and talk about it. It shouldn't be that bad. Besides, waving up his left hand. All they gotta do is win. Get in the top 20 and then compete. It doesn't sound so hard. Someone bringing their hand up on Deku's shoulder. Him twisting quickly and going to bring his hand up, grabbing their wrist. And he does a stare into the eyes of... Shit. Jock. You might want to leave her alone. You might want to leave him alone. Her bring her hand up and going to hold up a katana, telling Jock, her man isn't for sale, nor is he to be shared with an Oni. A woman does turn her head, glaring at the human, before calmly letting him go and expressing. She thought they weren't together. She does apologize, but do not doubt her skills. I don't doubt you, but I know what your race is made of. You seek powerful men. He is a powerful man. Sorry if I'm not exactly in the mood to deal with you. We're all tense. Her smiling, talking about how battle will soon await them. And the Oni woman does get a nod, giving a confirmation before she looked down at Deku's hand. And this time, she doesn't want to stare at it. Him seeing the look on her face as she does go to stare on. Something's wrong with his grip. And whenever Deku does go to let go of her, she does continue to stare on at this human. A man with blue eyes, white hair, and a mask covering his face. And she does glare at him. Before the king does express, "Jock!" And she does look up as many people do get turn their direction, asking if something is the matter. Nothing. Mistake. That was all. Her looking back directly at Deku, who has turned and does go to glare at many of the people around him. Before he does go to raise an arm into the air and ask the king exactly if they're going to be doing battles to weed out the weak, find out who's going to be competing in the top 20. And the man does glare at the young warrior. And he does express what they're doing is they're going to create a mass teleportation circle. Many of the mages from the front line, they have returned here today. This is a special event. They do have people manning the lines. Activity has been low, but monitored. If things do go bad, many of their forces will return. Though those who do seek the call of their duties, they are still there, awaiting an attack. The mages will teleport them to a region of forest they have declared suitable for people of their caliber. The man, grinning widely, expressing to all of them, did not hold back their powers. This is a world they can fight in. This small patch of land he's granting them is large, and their audiences will be able to see it. A massive crystal going to begin broadcasting a forest, and Deku just glared at it. It's a jumbotron. And his look of awe is not fake. Many people do stare at it the same exact way. Before, they are covered in magic, and they all do to teleport away. Right now, the heroes going along with them. And when they do to arrive in the forest, Deku, he does gotta bring up his hands, thinking about what to do. Unbuckling his cloak and going to put it in his inventory. Right now, he does think about his own tactic. Not many people know about his armor. Baku and Ochako don't know about it, so can use that. They know about the Nodachi, so that's off the table. Him and Indra have actually swapped swords, so that is a little funny. He's wielding a great sword, and he does still have that shield. But he also is focusing on some of his other magical abilities, the ones Atri could tell him more about. He spent all of his points, and he does feel confident in using dragon magic. Or, well, technically draconic techniques. That's really what he can classify them as. Him turning his head, dodging and bringing his hand up, grabbing the person by the wrist and spinning their arm. Before he does go throw his foot down, crashing onto their body. And he does a stare down at the person who's invisible, informing them. Stuff like that's going to get them killed. Before he does a turn, looking around. And he does go to use evaluation, finding multiple people in the area who may be around him. And some are heading directly his way. A Minotaur is one of them, possibly an ally or a friend. And then he does get to see someone else coming his way as well. This surprising him. And right now, he does his own glare at their levels. One of them is hidden from him. The other one, it's around his. And he does go to look down at the person who did try to shit. Aerodos going to try and flail away from Deku's grip. However, she does sit there, and he is alarmed. She's here? How the hell is she here? And shit, she's different. Let go. Fight me, you coward. Her bringing a knife up and stabbing it directly into Deku's leg. It going an inch into the flesh and stopping. Before she does glare up at Deku. And he does look down, telling her. She's not gonna win, Aerodos. Huh? How do you... Long story. Do you concede, or will I have to fight you? Her glaring him down. Before he does gonna let go of her arm and allow her back to her feet. Her jumping away with enhancement magic. And right now, she does go to get back up and begins trying to stretch out her shoulder. People watching on as these two, they do stare themselves down. He didn't eliminate her. And right now, while she is angry, Deku does a turn to the Minotaur, who does come bolting out of the woods. Him holding a massive sword in the air as he does come charging for the man, roaring that his friend was supposed to be here with him. They would have gotten in the top 20 together. They would have. Deku bring up his left hand, going to grab the blade as it does try to strike him down in the shoulder, turning sideways to the man and glaring at him. Before he does express to the man. Now, he was going to have a battle with Aerodos, a warrior who wouldn't have attacked him from behind. Is he going to concede? Covering his hand in a draconic armor, red flames that do begin to glow a bright orange, and the man does begin to back away. Deku stepping forwards and seeing the man crash into multiple trees with a single blow. Before he does go to drop the weapon he broke in half, and he does a turn back to the Oni, expressing to her, turning back with his short white hair. He does apologize for that. She's not going to beat him. I'll tell her that much. You're cocky. You do have some power. Him holding up his greatsword, holding it out towards her and informing her. He has more than that. He was a gladiator at one point. He knows combat. Some things she may not understand. Her scoffing, and then going to say something in fiendish before he's going to respond. Do not think that just because she does change the tongue she speaks in, he does not know bullshit when he sees it. Her glaring at him. This time a smile is somewhat creaking along her face. He's traveled, and the two just don't rush each other. And there actually is Bakugo. Bakugo, he was rushed. Many powerful warriors wanted to test their might against a hero. What makes them different from the quote-unquote non-chosen, as some people have called them. And this, yeah. It definitely was a show of might. A show of force. What makes them tick. And around the competition, it does begin to massively take each other out. Within the first 10 minutes, 20 people are out of the tournament. The first elimination was a man who was taken out by a stealth build. Someone he didn't see attacked him. And that definitely meant something. The second elimination was a man who was sent crashing into multiple trees. And the third was somebody who didn't expect to be encased in ice, and who tried to charge a hero with their bare hands. That person wasn't really that smart. And there is currently Deku, who does go to stand in the clearing holding up a weapon. Multiple people have fallen around them. They've tried to interrupt this little battle he's having with an old comrade. And Erodos does glare at the man. Her breathing heavily and going to feel the wounds he's inflicted on her. He's powerful. He's tough. He's dangerous. And he's shit. Her glaring at him. He has both hands on his blade. He is showing seriousness, but his movements, there's something off about them. Her eyes can't pick it up. And he does go to do one simple thing. Whenever she does go to enhance her body again, he has a step forwards. This time, him going to bring a blade directly up to her throat. Her raising hers up to try and attack. Before he does go to use Dimension Door. Him going to teleport both of them up in the air. Right now, her alarmed him beginning to fall. Before Deku, he does go to move down with an air step. Him crashing the ground first and going to sheath his blade. Before he has a spin and going to grab Erodos, where he's going to crash her directly into the ground. Then he does a pull back of fist as he does go to stare at her. Right now, her unconscious, where he's going to stand and go to bring a hand up, catching her weapon without looking, where he's going to slowly set it down next to the warrior, informing her she's fought well. She has improved much on her own journey. Going to stand, as some people do go to turn their direction. They sensed a powerful shift in magic. And right now Deku does go to turn, watching as a man does come stepping out to the clearing. Him going to drop two of the other fallen competitors and going to glare directly at Izuku. And he does come face to face with his mentor, Sir Theodore. And the man does glare adamantly at Izuku, before Deku does bring his hand up and do one simple thing. He holds both his fists out straight, Before he does, going to smash them together and then going to flip them over, showing the upper side of his palm to the sky for crashing those fists together as well. And Theodore does going to laugh out before doing the same thing. Before he does smash his fists together, showing the acceptance of an orcish challenge, a battle of might. And the man, he does know this already. He was the one who gave Deku that mask. And right now, he does wish to put him through his paces. Deku bringing a hand up and going to put the mask directly to his side. And people do stare on at the man. His white hair still there, though the scars covering his cheeks and his face, they do to appear. And he does raise his fist up and get ready. The two rushing each other and going to clash with a single blow. And that sound does echo through the woods like lightning striking the very earth. It booming with a pressure that does get sentries flying. And this, it does surprise many competitors. And even King Drutha does get to stare on at the battle, watching the two. Not many people can collide with Theodore, the Prince of the Sky. The man is strong and powerful. And right now he's a watch on. Theodore smashed the man across the face before he's to uppercut him. This time, him going to bring a hand up, reaching out for Theodore's leg. The man going to uppercut Deku with a kick to the face. And whenever he does send him, Deku sprawling backwards, he has to continue to flip. Him going to weigh himself down by pulling the earth towards him. Him being crashing into the ground and then going to stand. And Drutha does glare at that for a second. He swore he saw wind magic. He saw fire magic. A unique type. And then there's this. This man isn't ordinary, is he? Him grinning, as he may have been able to find Izuku in the tournament far easier than he thought. Out of everybody he sees, there were some worthy candidates, though sticking in a human form, not trying something too different, a subtle disguise. And that he does like. And right now, whenever Deku and Theodore do to clash again, they do come to blows immensely. And we do currently have Bakugo and Ochako. Ochako, she's going to stand there. Right now, her clad in her armor and holding up her right and left hand. As people, they continue to try and bum rush her. She doesn't hold up a hand and go to do one simple thing. She does cast multiple magic missiles out that do begin to bombard the earth with debris. And when that debris does get airborne, she's going to flip her hand up and shoot it out forwards. Right now, her using a combination of wind and geomagic to use these bullets to smash into people. She hears them bang off of armor, and she hears people flying through the air and feel them moving through the current she has created. It shooting upwards and arcing to the sky. Before she sees 5 competitors bring her hand up, pulling it down as they do go crash and looking down to the ground. And that is that. Her turning her head, watching as right now a massive mountain in the distance, it does have someone get sent flying through it. Them crashing through the barrier of it and going to come flying out the other side. We're watching someone fly through them. And just stare at that, turning her head and watching a massive amount of lightning be struck down on the location. Staring at that, turning and going to watch as a beam of light is shot through the air. It crashing into a mountain in the distance and going to explode. Her turning her head and looking away from that. In this, it does certainly mean something. Right now, she just won't laugh. Before she does feel a massive change in the wind and spin, going to evade the attack that does go split the sky. And that it does make her a little bit more paranoid. Right now, bring up her hand and getting ready. As the giant man on the ground, he does glare up and raise a sword towards her. She's going to bring up her left hand and go to aim it out towards him. Before they do get covered in magic and get teleported away. Right now, all of them arriving back in the arena as 2 people they are still continuing their battle. Right now, both of them going to have their hands interlocked, along with someone holding a weapon directly to another person's throat, as well as someone in the middle of casting a spell. And all of them, they do get a somewhat freeze, turning their heads and looking around, seeing who else is here. And this does mean they're the competitors for the top 20. Izuku turning his head, for he doesn't see Indra, her in her disguise, turning in. Holy shit. Indra looking at him. And whenever he does go to put his mask back on, he has a point. And whenever she has to follow his finger, she has to stare at another dragonkin. Someone in her position. And it does immediately alarm her. Right now, her wanting to expose who she really is. The fact that he made it into the top 20, that's something. I mean, no, his scale pattern. His hair. Blonde? No, that's too bright to be blonde. He's polymorphed. That's gotta be it. An actual dragon would hide that better. That's his true form. Her going to stare at the man who does go to put his weapon away. Him looking at the crowd and trying to find who might be that sense of great disturbance. And right now, there is where Bakugo does a turn. Him directly laying eyes on Izuku. And he does turn his head before he does turn his eyes back to Bakugo, maintaining a gaze directly at him. Now Chako, she does go to turn looking at him, her eyes following his gaze and looking at Izuku. Before he does bring his hand up. And he does give Bakugo the thumbs down. The man going to glare at him as Izuku does turn his eyes on Ochako. She does have her hair braided. It's long. She does have a black eye patch. It does have leather. He can tell that much. But he can't see the designs, the embroidery on here. It's lined with some sort of red coloration. Accents, he thinks they're called. It's fancy, but he wonders what is wrong with her left arm. Him staring at it. It's made of wood. How did she do that? Right now, her looking at him, bring up the limb and going to show it off to him. The surprise quite evident on his face. And she doesn't do one thing that Deku doesn't expect. Flip him the bird. Right now, him surprised before he doesn't laugh out. As he does do one thing. Flip her the bird as well. Bakugo bring a hand up and saying something to her. Deku going to begin walking over. For King Drutha does express. The tournament is going to begin now. It did not take long to weed out those who could not fit in the tournament. All of them are powerful in their own right. Their craft is quite good. And they will be the ones competing to fight the champion. Once that does happen, they will face him if they win. Now, they will continue on to the matches. Right now, he believes they will see Kavila go against Kesrel. Now, both the two get in the ring. Everyone going to stand there. And Deku does turn to Indra, her still somewhat glaring at the other dragonkin. And he does going to make his way over. Right now, him going to ask how her battles went. And she does snap her eyes back to him. They went fine. Is he real? He looks real. Doesn't look like an illusion, but we can kind of ask. Though we've got to sit down over him turning. Seeing that a lot of the people who are here, they apparently know each other. And Indra does turn her head, noticing this. Right now, a lot of them sitting in a specialized portion of the stands. And he does go walking up with her. However, the two are seen, they do to step up and into view of everybody. Right now, someone announcing that what they're seeing is Kavila, the Rogue of Shadows, go up against Kasriel, the Flame Monarch. Deku turning his head, seeing the Beast Woman and the Tiefling standing in the ring. Before the announcement does go to begin, and he does go to step into the booth that does house these people. And he does get a turn. Right now, going to walk over to his seat and sit down. Before he's a turn, as Indra just sat down directly on Deku's lap. Him turning his head towards the others. Some of the more younger contestants, not opponents, have decided to group together, though that hasn't stopped the others from shouting across the entire stand. And this, Deku does find someone annoying. Him currently facing Ochako and asking her, "How'd she lose the arm?" Her turning her head, looking directly at him, as there is the Dragonkin man, who does sit on the seat behind Bakugo, expressing, "That is rather rude." It's a good question, isn't it? I was curious. It happened in a battle. I made a wrong move, and it cost me the limb. Though, thank God for magic items. Her holding it up, and he does stare at it. Do you know nature magic? I'm not giving away any of my magic types. Though, unless you plan to give away yours. I could. I've got a few in store. Ignore him. Listen, you two are the heroes, right? We are. Yeah, we are the heroes. It's complicated. You know, I've been hearing that a lot lately. Her glaring back to Deku. And he does also roll his eyes, talking about it. He can kind of understand that. His entire life's kind of been complicated. Though it must be kind of weird for them, right? Yeah, you have no idea. I'm assuming you're not going to ask about the eye? No. Everyone kind of knows about that one. You're very blunt, aren't you? Him turning to the Dragonkin. Yes, I am. I've learned that honesty does tend to get you farther. Though, I don't see a point in lying. It's a long story about that, too. Is it now? Yes. A man's word is his bond. I would have to agree with you on that. Him still a bit more wary of Deku. He does look to the woman who is sitting on his lap. The dark-haired human woman. She's glaring at him oddly. He doesn't like it. Her gaze is lingering. And he does go to turn back as the match is called. And he does get a turn to see that the beast woman, Kavil, she has won. Or Kavila. She has won. And this, it does highly intrigue Deku. Right now, him both curious and intrigued about who might be up next. And he does his own stare on as the king does announce, Tomati, he will be going up against Hami. And Indra, her spine is going to straighten. Her going to stand up and going to turn. Going to give Deku a kiss that does somewhat linger. For her to lean back and express. Does she think that he can does he think she can beat him? Not sure. I remember that guy, I think. If he's a shaman, then I'm not sure. Her going to turn, leaping over the railing and going to crash down. Right now, the shaman going to stand and do the same thing, though his landing is a lot more graceful. And right now, Indra, she does go to walk over to the ring, going into the center of this coliseum, and it does go to begin roaring out cheers. They've already seen the first battle, and Izuku, he was still quite intrigued. There are some ways to use fire he hasn't thought about yet. Clearly, how to implement those. Though it does make him quite curious. If Ochako lost an arm, what has Bakugo been through? His scars aren't yet visible? Okay. I'll have to think of a strategy. Indra standing in the ring, and right now, she does go to wear the dark set of armor from the Underdark. And many people do stare on her manifesting twin blades and going to begin swinging them around, trying to get a feel for them since she hasn't dual wielded in a long time. And she does have someone spin them around, quite happy with how they are. And Izuku does stare on as he does somewhat feel a slight twitch in his eye. As right now, she does a stare at the shaman who does get a walk up. And the man, he's an Oni. He looks powerful, but what does he do? What can he do? Okay, she shouldn't take him too lightly. Her looking at Deku. Whenever he does a glare at the shaman, he does try to read the man's level. And that tells him one thing. He's definitely a strong man. He got through the challenge. Somehow. And right now, he does go to do one thing. Whenever the king does say begin, he does raise his hand. Right now, his staff, it does go to smash into the ground. Energy does going to pour around the area. Deku feeling that tingle in the air. And he does get stare on as Indra does go to watch on. Right now, spiritual wolves being constructed in front of him as he doesn't give them orders to take her down. And right now, he has a grab the necklace covering his body. It does going to be pulled free as the beads due to fly up into the air. And he does going to raise a hand and point to Indra, beginning to say a few words as the beads are flying forwards. And he does get to watch on. And he does get to listen. The shaman's using magic. But the one thing Deku finds the most peculiar about it is the fact that he's not saying the words. He's miming them. And this, he does find interesting. The shaman conjuring a giant bat as well as trying to conjure a troll. And Indra, she does go to try to evade the weapons that do go to fly at her. Right now, her going to bring a hand up and go to block one of the balls trying to fly directly at her and pelt her. And Izuku does stare at this. They're like slugs flying towards her, like ballistic weapons. Hell, they're like a gun. Did he really forget he had that in his inventory? I'm annoyed. Before, he has a look down to check. And right now, he doesn't find the item. Before, he does stare at it and think. He bought that thing more than a year ago, and he never got any use out of it. Today might be the day to show it off. Him going to quickly manifest it as he does going to put it onto his side. And someone to his left, they do to see him fix the weapon onto his belt. As Indra just continue to try and block the weapons that try to fly at her. Whenever one of them does go to connect, they do go to bounce off her weapon and go to emit a loud vibration sound. Her going to turn and swipe through the wolf with a massive cleave. And over the wind slash as a fly through the air, the shaman does get a turn, him effortlessly dodging, for he's to bring a hand up and pull the second necklace covering his neck. For bringing his hands down to his wrist and pulling the bracelets he does have as well. And those larger beads do begin to fly towards her. And she does go to try to evade them. Right now her going to bring her hands up and blast out fire magic. The giant bat and troll going to get hit by the attacks as the shaman does go to rush at her. Right now him going to bring up his weapon and smash down. As he does try to do one simple thing. He is going to strike Indra directly in her armor, though she does go to bring a hand up and throw her foot up, kicking the man across the face, for she to bring her weapon down, slicing directly through the man's back as she does take a pelt directly in one of the spots where her armor doesn't exactly protect, right under the armpit. And whenever she is struck there, she's going to feel the bone somewhat shift in her arm. Her roaring with some pain, for she's a turn, looking at the man she just struck, and he's a spin, trying to throw a punch directly at her. Him more annoyed and angry, as right now, whenever it does it to connect with her armor, she's just sliding backwards. Her digging her feet into the ground and going to launch herself forwards, using her hands to go to slice away at the weapons coming at her. And when she's in a close range, the shaman does bring up his staff. Right now, her going to send a gust of wind that does go to shoot the staff upwards further into his grip. When she's going to get in close, she's going to bring the weapons up and stab the man directly through the chest with both of them. And he does begin to pour blood through his mouth, as she does go to bring a weapon up and go to hold it to his neck, informing him. Does he concede? And the man does go look up at her. You, I see. Wasn't an illusion. You need medical attention. The man raising his fist. And she does go to wait for the healers to come towards the ring. Right now, him going to get medical attention and the swords pulled from his body. And people, they'd have been roar out for this champion. Right now, the king is mightily impressed, since that it looked like it was a little fun. Though, fighting a shaman, yeah, he wouldn't have wanted to do that either. It does seem a little tedious. And right now, Izuku, he does watch Indra return, as there is the next battle. Right now, Deku going to hear about it. They want Tao, or Tio, to go up with Pierce. And he does get a stand. Rhino him going to step onto the ring as he does to jump down from the stance. And whenever his step doesn't echo loudly, it does go slow and then land, people do something to stare on. He's elegant. Some people staring on at him, and others, they do to roar out for this warrior. And the king, he does his own smile, quite curious about how this will go. And Izuku does turn his head, waiting for Pierce, wondering who the fuck is that. Staring on it, his mind is trying to comprehend this. Of all the things to see today, a robot was not what he expected. Now, the king does express. They have Tao, who is a recent competitor and someone yet to be given titles, going up against Pierce, the scarred princess of battle. The woman who became the Warforged, and who so long ago lost herself to a dragon. And that Deku does pay attention to. That tells him all he needs to about his opponent. The woman standing in front of him. She may look mechanical. She may have a strange appearance to him, but she is not that. A body of wood, leather, and dragon hide. Now that he is looking at her closely, he can see it. Some parts of her might be metal, but that is dangerous to go under the assumption that that metal isn't like his cursed magic. This crossing his mind. How long has it been since he's actually used that magic? Huh. Right. Him gonna hear begin. And whenever it does to do so, the two do stare each other down. Deku still holding on to his armor. And he does bring his hands up as his wristbands. They do to glow. Right now, they do go to match his armor. Dark. And they do have some runes engraved onto them. And the woman does stare him down, waiting for him to do something. Anything. To make a move. And this, it does mean something. He can't sense much magic coming off of her. Though, essence? No, none of that either. The only person who has essence is the elf in the stands. He's fairly certain of that. No, but she must have gotten an ability from doing that, though. From slaying a dragon. He does sense a lot of wounds from her. And this, it's where she does go to rush forwards. Deku watching time begin to slow down around the woman. Trying to think about it. Even at his max perception, she's somewhat moving. She's got speed. He knows that much. Deku beginning to create constructs in his hand, creating whips made of mana, and trying to think about what to do. He already has his weapon drawn, and she's barely moved. His Planeswalker abilities inhibit him from enjoying this fight, though he should limit himself, and that does sound at least a lot better. He also has yet to use his goddamn empowerment. He only showed it off against Theodore, though this still could be very fun. And right now the woman does it to rush Deku. Her going to come in as he does the draw whips, him doing so at blinding speed to the audience. And whenever he does go to bring up a hand, he does a slash out towards her. Her going to spin and slice up with a magical blade. Her going to do so as Deku, he does see that. Right now sensing mana beginning to pour into her. And this is tell Deku everything he needs to know. She's not some sort of robot. She's more a magical cyborg. And that does catch his curiosity. Before, he does it to watch claws of mana shoot Doki from her hand, them coming at him as arrows. And he does go to step to the side and bring up the tendril. It shooting up and going to smack them out of the air. For just shoot out towards her, and she does a step backwards, evading the strike as it hit the ground as he does go to bring up his second hand. It going to fly out towards her as she does bring her hand down, slicing upwards and cutting through the tendril. Her going to bring a hand up as in a blast Doki through her arm directly at Izuku. And he does going to bring a hand up, creating a shield made of mana. Bring a hand up, going to cast a magic missile. And when the spell is flying out towards her, she does go to throw her hands up to block. It striking the ground as he does go to do one simple thing. He does go to cover his hands in fire and go to blast out. Right now her going to keep the shield up as the fire magic, it does begin to bury into the shield and she does see it push her backwards. And she does glare up at this person attacking her, wondering when they might try something, the ground shifting underneath her. and she is a leap up into the air, watching as the ground does begin to pour with fire. But that isn't what it was. The ground heated up. That wasn't a magic circle attack. It was her looking back at Deku. And Izuku, he has to bring up his left hand, pulling it backwards with his right. And right now, he does go to begin to fire arrows directly up towards her with his wrist. And she does stare at that, knowing that she can defend and going to block. However, when the arrows do go to shoot in a multiple, Deku to open his hands, she does go to realize one thing. Going to spin around and create a second shield. She can't defend herself, being hit by the attacks as she comes crashing down. Right now, her crashing down quickly and beginning to try and put out the fire, covering the hide on her body. And he does tell her, bring up a weapon. She really is a cyborg, isn't she? Part man, part machine. What is she? He's never seen a beast like her. Her going to stand and turn, saying out in a voice, one that shouldn't be soft. It's a complicated story. Seems like it. Though he's been hearing that a lot. Get in line. Bring up his hand again. This time, creating a bow made of fire as he does go to begin firing. And she does go to evade the attacks as Deku. He has to send out one charged with draconic magic. And it does a fly out with immense speed. It flying through the air as she's trying to dodge. Her going to bring up a hand to get a barrier that could protect her. And when the shield is blown through by the magic, she does go to watch it fly behind her. This alarming her as the next attack does begin to come in. It going to try and strike out towards her as she's a leap up in the air. Her going to use magic to step off and fly her way towards Izuku. And he does stare at that, somewhat laughing in his mind about jet boots. And she gets him crashing directly into him and stabbing into him. The two blades going into his gut. Him going to bring his hands down as he has to flex his abs. Right now, her being caught in the weapons, they don't pull free. As he does a glare down at her. And people, they do talk about calling the match. One of the medics being to run up as Deku does hold her still before he has to throw his foot up, smashing her directly in the face as she does try to buckle backwards. And he does go to stare down at her arms before he has to bring his head back and smash his head down into hers, and she's buried into the ground. And he does go to somewhat laugh out. People watching him spill blood from his mouth as he is to pull her arms free and the magical damage is gone. The healer's staring at Deku, and it's not possible. Him turning and walking back to the stands people are housed at. That was a little fun. He might have to find her after the match. Magical cyborg. Huh. Something like what Ochako's doing, but for the entire body? Kind of reminds him of Frankenstein. Though he isn't too well versed in that storyline other than just reanimated dead through science? And electricity or something like that. That sounds about right. This on his mind. And he does get back into the stands. Some people staring at him want to know what the hell he just did. And he does talk about it. It's not that bad. Besides, if it was, then the referee would have called it. Ochako glaring at him, asking about that ability. Why didn't he just scream? A long story. It sounds like it. I mean, it definitely does sound like a Ochako Yuraka. Her turning, being alarmed as her opponent does get a manifest on the ring, and she does get a wince as right now Deku's to turn his head and see a tiefling standing there. Him going to somewhat wince internally, realizing she is in a very bad spot. And that does not make him try to resist the urge to laugh. Right now Indra on the seat next to him, trying to ask Bakugo exactly if it's true he slayed a dragon. It is, though I can't take all the credit for it. Really? You can't? No, I can't. Deku turning to the dragon kin, Diso, when he does it to ask, who taught him draconic magic? Bakugo snapping his head directly back to the man. That was what it was? Not advanced fire or a different way of channeling heat? That's a longer story. Is it now? I don't need to explain myself to a possible opponent. Now do I? You do not. Though, I do believe that I would like to challenge you. Get in line. Only one of us can take on the champion. So I think we're going to be doing pretty good. What about you, though? You're a dragonkin, aren't you? Yes, I am. I am friend to Bakugo. Are you now? That's kind of funny. How so? Well, he slayed a dragon. And you don't hate him? No. The beast he slayed was evil. It tried to murder a village of people. My father sent me to help. And by the time I arrived, the beast was dead. Was it now? That's interesting. So you're a dragon slayer then? Yeah. A lot like the woman you just took down. Yeah, I guess. Though if dragons are kind of that realm of power, I don't see them being that strong. Deku somewhat lying, trying to see what kind of reactions he can provoke out of them. They're not all that weak. I've learned that over the years. Some can be stronger, and that's not fun. Whenever I met the gold dragon, I thought I was going to shit my pants, honestly. The dude was just huge. I could imagine. I mean, aren't most dragons super, super big? I mean, some adult ones can be the size of a house, right? Larger. Really? Try a 2 to 3 story house. They can be that big just when lying down. And ancient ones can be larger than that. The size of a moderate hill. Like this Colosseum? I'd say maybe a fourth. But that still is large. Him turning his head. And he can't deny it. The dude's description is rather correct. Hell, Zardes was pretty damn huge. And he was apparently approaching the end of his life. I'll take your word on it. Though you met a gold dragon? I never said what species it was. You're a dragonkin, right? Yes. Your scales are golden. You're blonde. And the pattern in your scales, along with the fact that your face is easy to tell. Him raising his head back, and he does feel more suspicious of Izuku. How the hell would he know this? He thinks his disguise is pretty good. And Bakugo does get a turn. Talking about it. It's fine. Besides, a lot of people know about dragons, right? They don't know this guy. So just keep his temper in check. Deku actually surprised by that. He's been through a lot of training. a lot of things to cool him down. And speaking of that, there is where the end of the match is signaled. Him turning and seeing that Ochako's opponent currently is encased in ice. And she does come walking back up, wiping her brow of some sweat, talking about it. Well now, that certainly was quite the way to heat up. Him goes to laugh out, talking about it. Well shit, that does not look fun. How does she feel? Terrible? Not too bad, but I'd rather get a break. Well, you might be getting one with the next match, so there's that. Him looking up, as he does get to hear Theodore versus Brawl. And the man, he does get a stand. Before Deku does a look across the arena and see the larger of their people here. A large orc giant. He does a stand up and begin to make his way into the arena. His massive stomping going to signal to everyone to fall silent. 15 feet tall. And Theodore does stare the man down. Right now, him quite excited about the arena fights. His student is here and he fucking knows it. He saw his growth in strength. And he does feel a little feral excitement from Atrig seeping into him. Pride. That he can potentially fight his own student and see where he is. See exactly how much stronger he's become. And the match is signaled to begin. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed and to have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.